Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how to deal with the unexpected in your business, and we're going to be talking about the 3 things you need to do in your business before you hire your first employee. Before we get into that, though, a big thank you to today's sponsor, which is Gusto. If you haven't already, check it out. It's gusto.com/bootcamp, and you get a free 90-day trial. Now, it's right now, it's September. It's past September. We're in October now. October, November, December. We got 3 months until the end of the year. And so I'd really recommend, if you haven't tried out Gusto already, give it a shot. Try out for the remainder of 2018. And then that way, when come 2019, you'll be ready to go as far as new books, new payroll software, all of that good stuff. So try it out now. And maybe run some numbers through, put some employees in there, see how it all operates, see how it pumps out month-end and quarterly reports, W-2s at the end of the year. See if you like it. And then if you like it enough, which most people do, and I love the software, definitely, you can get all ready and set up for 2019, so it's just seamless for your payroll. So check it out today. Go to gusto.com/bootcamp for that free 90-day trial. All right, so now today we are going to be talking about something that is a little bit personal to me that I've been going through in the past couple weeks, hence a little bit of delay in the episodes. And then I want to address a question that I got like a month ago from a kind of a unique business that I wanted to kind of highlight today. So let's talk about first something that I'm going through right now, dealing with the unexpected. So I can't give you the really specifics until January of what exactly happened, but basically we were really counting on something to happen in our business, and it just did not happen. I know I'm really vague, but I can't really say yet exactly what it is, just until January. And so basically we were really counting on a certain, it's hard not to even tell you, but it's we were counting something to happen. We were kind of putting in a lot of our eggs in a certain basket. And so all of a sudden then circumstances out of our control, people out of our control, basically made that not happen and put a roadblock in that way. And not just a roadblock, it was a hard line, like you cannot go this direction. And unexpected completely. We had really planned a lot in the next 5 to 6 months to really do a lot in a certain direction of the company. And so we were told, basically that's not going to happen anymore. And so I think when, it'll make more sense obviously in January, I tell you what happened and how we pivoted and things. But I think there's really something innate in a true entrepreneur that when they do have a setback or defeat, that they really do come back stronger and they really do rise to the occasion. I know for a fact that a lot of business owners, just the small, what I would call a small setback or unexpected setback that we had this past week, would put a lot of companies out of business or at least discourage the entrepreneur enough to not grow or pivot or change the company model. And so I really encourage you, if you do have something crazy happen, whether it be your best hire quits, or has a disease and all of a sudden cannot work, or perhaps maybe a big competitor moves into your space. Maybe you have you're an independent local restaurant, and a massive conglomerate national chain moves in next to you. If you have a small grocery store and a Walmart moves in across the street, if you are a small gas station and all of a sudden a Shell gas station, opens up across the street, what happens then? If you're a small town gym like I have, Anytime Fitness, and a Planet Fitness, a massive, very cheap type gym opens up next to you, how do you pivot? How do you change your model? How do you deal with the unexpected? Because you're not expecting that. That's not in the business plan. That's not in your 5-year forecast of a massive competitor moving in, or your number 2 employee or number 3 employee, or for the first employee you ever hired that you've depended on so long and this has always become almost like a fixture in the business, they leave. Like, that's not in your plans. We never expect as entrepreneurs, we never calculate into our business models unexpected, unforeseen issues coming up. But they do. They happen all the time. And I really think, in the micro, these setbacks, these unexpected issues happen every single day. If you're a small business owner and as your company grows especially and you get more people involved, there's going to be more and more things on a daily basis, things really, really like affecting you, negative things happening that might be breakages or unhappy customers or negative reviews online or things that you have to do from an HR perspective as far as giving out disciplinary action or trying to give a hard talk to someone to really change their behaviors or making big decisions because of negative impacts on the business that has happened. Like every single day that happens. And as you get more people, that just compounds more and more and more. If you have 2 or 3 employees, you're going to have some drama and things like that. But when you get 20, 30, 40, 50, it just compounds. More and more issues come up every day, more and more fires, and they grow in size. Every single day there's something broken. Every single day there's an unhappy customer that has to be dealt with. And so there's always these more, on the micro, these things happen daily. But when it comes to, when it really seems like an unexpected issue comes up that you have to deal with, that really could alter the course of the business, what do? How do you deal with an unexpected blow that seemingly could take the company out? What do you do about it? And I think this is what really separates entrepreneurs from those that are just running their business as a job or that really don't have the DNA or the skill set to be a business owner and yet are somehow considering themselves an entrepreneur and running a business. This is, I believe, what separates the great from the good and the good from the bad is the people that can deal with unexpected issues that arise in their business. Whether that be the economy on a macro level, whether that be, like I said, a hiring perspective, whether that be a competitor moving in, some sort of change in the marketplace. A competitor is an issue. Yeah, your best employee or your manager, leaving to go to that competitor. Like these are unforeseen, unexpected issues that will rise up in your business that you are not planning for today. And you've heard me talk about the black swan and these events that are happening in a business, things that arise in your company that are unexpected. But what happens? How do you deal with that? That is what we're going to talk about today. It's nothing complicated. There's no recipe for this. But I think there's some key takeaways that I kind of looked back on and kind of drew from last week as we had one of these instances in our business that for some people would have wiped them out. They would have closed the doors, they would have shut down, and they would not have pivoted or they wouldn't have made a change. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to you have an unexpected issue. That could be even personally in your personal life, you have unexpected issues arise that will affect the business if you let it. Or that can have direct impact on the business if there's a partner involved. And now there's, the partners being, breaking apart the partnership in the business. If you have a joint partnership or a JV in the company, and now all of a sudden this is being pulled apart. How do you deal with these unexpected issues? I think the number one thing is really to stay positive. I know that's really like corny, staying positive and all that stuff, but finding a positive angle, I really believe in starving the negativity of your attention. So when we had this unforeseen issue come up last Thursday it was, so here we are almost a week later, and completely out of the blue, did not expect it, had already had plans to go in a different direction, and obviously there was a level of disappointment, of a little bit, question marks and a little bit of anger because it was kind of out of our control. And that was for moments of time, but very quickly, this is something that a little bit comes innate for me, is just very quickly find the positive in it and then just focus, like double down, triple down on just that thing, just on the positive. Like literally for a few minutes, we dwelled on the negative implications. We dwelt on kind of the disappointment of not being able to go forward with some of our plans, literally moments. And since those few moments after the meeting and after everything happened and we had to change course, literally it has not been spoken about again as far as the negative implications or the disappointment we have about what happened. And so finding that positive angle and then starving negativity of your attention, like I really believe that when you focus and you give attention to negativity, that's what makes it grow. So I would starve negativity of your attention. Don't even dwell on it. Don't give it time of day. Don't think about it. Don't have meetings about it. Don't address your employees about it. Like literally as a leader, you have to be confident about the decisions you're making. So like when we pivoted and we had this, unforeseen, unexpected issue rise up and change the course of the business, uh, you know, I I could have the next day, Friday morning, I could have had a meeting with the whole staff and explain what was going on. And it was kind of leaking out. So like that's your first kind of reaction to, like, as the leader, I need to make sure everyone's on the same page and there's nothing like going on within the organization. And that's usually how I am more. I'm more instinctive as far as acting more as a reflex to making sure that there is open communication and dialogue and things like that. But I didn't have that Friday meeting, and I actually pushed it off to the end of the after the weekend. And people the next day were asking what happened. They knew the meeting had taken place, and they asking, and I just say, hey, we just gotta wait till Monday. We gotta wait for Monday, and that's not the way I usually am. It's very rare, and even it probably caught some of the employees off guard a little bit for me to even imply that they had to wait till the next week to know what happened in this meeting, and so it wasn't very natural for me to do that, to kind of hold that back information at all in the company. But I felt it was important for me as a leader to come to the employees, come to the team meeting with a plan that I 110% could believe in, be confident in, and answer every single one of their questions. Because I really do feel as a leader, regardless of whether or not you are 100% confident at first, you have to get you have to get to the place where you are 100% all in, committed, you're determined, you are confident in the decision you're making. And even if you're not 100% sure if it's the right or wrong way, it has to be done with authority and it has to be done with confidence. Even if you're not 100% sure that the outcome is going to be what you want, I truly believe that when you make the decision as a leader, the people following you they're not going to follow with confidence or with bravado or work ethic and really put themselves into really put their shoulders to the wheel if you as the owner aren't having any confidence, don't know exactly what's right, show any sort of weakness when it comes to the decision-making process. And there's a balance as far as being humble and humble enough to admit that, and then also be vulnerable enough to talk about decisions within the business. However, as a small business owner, when you have people within your organization that are sacrificing or they are in a place where they have to provide for a family and they are depending on a paycheck, you have to make sure that they feel comfortable and that they feel secure with the decision that's being made. And that it's not in just your best interest as the owner, but you are thinking about them and that you are their best interests are in your mind. And that's what I was thinking about the entire weekend. It was not so much how am I going to phrase this for the company's sake. I was confident that the company's thing was going to pan out and it was going to be a positive in the end. But I had to make sure that I was framing it in such a way that the employees, the people that I'm leading, know that I have their best interests at heart. Because that's just the truth, and I do care, and I want to make sure that was very clear in the way I present it. So Thursday we have this big setback. Friday I'm just like, hey, we're not going to talk about it. You'll find out what happened last night on Monday. So Monday morning we have a meeting. I had to really put together kind of my notes as far as being confident, and I wanted to have that weekend, and I didn't sleep very much, but I had to have that weekend to really, in my mind, answer every single possible angle or question that the team could have, and that's what happened. Monday morning I was able to open the floor for questions and just do a live Q&A. Everyone just raised hands, and maybe for 20 minutes or so, just random questions about what the changes were, how it was going to affect them, how it was going to affect the long-term strategy of the company, because they all know those things, and now they're all asking like, okay, we know we're at A, and we're trying to get to C, but what's B? Because now we had this big change in our plans. And so making sure they realize that C is still the objective, but now we're going to take like some other route besides B that we've been planning on is something that has to be dealt with delicately, with confidence. And as a leader, you have to be empathetic to the fact that they are going to have concerns, they're going to have questions, they might have doubts, they might even challenge certain things about your decision. But when the unexpected happens, what they're looking for, because it was unexpected for the whole team, let alone myself, but as the leader, when the unexpected happens, all the people you're leading are looking to you to see how you react. That's the biggest takeaway here is when unexpected things happen, that's what defaults a leader and a follower. The followers are going to look to the leader to see how they respond. And if you aren't a strong leader, the followers behind you are going to you're going to really question whether or not that decision is going to be in their long-term interest and the company's long-term interest. So meeting went good. We are making big changes in the next several months, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I was very confident in the positive aspect of everything. And it's not just so much like positive thinking. Like once you actually start dwelling on the positive, you start opening your mind up to it, and you always start realizing that this is actually going to turn out for a very positive thing for the business, for the employees, for the company as a whole, from a financial standpoint, from an HR standpoint, from a long-term growth perspective. And so really there is literally not anything to talk about from a negative position anymore, other than the fact that it was kind of out of our control, the decision, the change, and that was a little bit annoying, but that we don't even talk about it anymore. We've starved negativity of our attention, and thereby focusing on the positive angles have really created this unexpected upheaval into really a big positive for the team, and everyone's looking forward to it. Lots of change, lots of positive change, lots of really cool things they're looking forward to implement and give their opinion on, and really see some really cool things happen in the company. So we dealt with the unexpected, and I think at those times of dealing with unexpected things, whether it be hiring or big changes in the company or strategy or unexpected cancellations of contracts, cuts in revenue, big changes from where you have to locate your business. Like these are things that affect your company. These are things that are affecting your team. These are affecting their jobs, their livelihood. And so you have to make sure you communicate it effectively to make sure that these bends in the road, these turns in the pathway are communicated effectively, and then you make a positive out of a seemingly very negative situation. So you might be listening to this and you say, well, I don't even have a team member. I don't have any employees. And so I'm going to actually pivot to a completely different topic here, and that's how do you get your first employee? So we talked today, about dealing with the unexpected, how to then present that to your team, how to stay positive and really starve negativity of the attention that it wants, and really how leadership is so crucial at these times of unexpected change in your business. But it's most, if you're a solo entrepreneur, you can get away with making decisions on your own or kind of having a little bit of doubt in your mind when you're making these big changes in your company. But when it comes to a team, it's totally different. That's what we talked about. But what about if you're just solo and you're wanting to get your first employee? So I'm going to read a question. I know this is a big turn in the episode, but I'm going to read a question that came from Brad. And what was cool is he runs an aquarium and pond service company. And I'm just reading a question he wrote in from businessbootcamppodcast.com. And basically, the business, he's been in business since 2016. The company does like $65,000 in annual revenue, which is a great living and, not a whole lot of overhead with this type of a business. But he's saying he's at the point now where he wants to grow his business because now he's gotten a good place as far as personally with the relationships and things like that. In the past, been negative. Now it's really positive. He's got to the point where he wants to grow the business and get an employee to start. I'm just reading this now to start taking some of the weight off my shoulders so I can spend more time being with my family, but yet be able to make my business explode. I just don't know where to even begin. And so it's easy for someone like myself or a larger small business, I've done 10, 15, 20 employees, to get in the habit of, you're always hiring and firing, and it's very easy to just kind of fall into that mentality that people are there and that you know how to hire them, you know how to fire them, and that, people are come and people go. Well, what if you're just where Brad's at? And this is the question why I'm bringing this up, not just because it's kind of a different business. I don't think we've ever had an aquarium cleaning company highlighted on the show. But how do you even get that first employee? What do you do, and what are the steps to kind of make it, easier? It's never easy finding your first employee, and it's the hardest hire. The second one's harder, not harder. It's still hard. Third, fourth, you start getting in the groove of things, and as your company gets larger, you realize that there is no one person that holds everything up. So like making a bad hire, yes, it's going to hurt your company, but it's not like it's going to sink you. And so it gets a little bit different as your company grows. And so I want to kind of give 3 tips to on my take on if you're trying to hire first person, and they're not like the standard ones. There's lots of really standard ones you could give as far as like from a legal standpoint, what you need to do, or like from a business standpoint, things like that. I want to kind of give 3 very tactical things that I would do and the kind of steps I would follow to get the first employee. So number 1 is actually from a money standpoint. And I find a lot of people sometimes they jump into the illusion of grandeur of hiring people, and they, obviously they've, listened to the podcast, listen to other people, and they know that hiring people is going to be how they get to the next level and how they get to work on the business instead of in the business, and they get to work out of the field if they're in a service-based company. So it's all very cool, and it's all very, utopian, and so they jump into it too fast. And then all of a sudden the financial aspect of the company goes to ruins because they can't afford an employee. And so number 1, I would save money, and I would have up to at least 3 months of pay for that hire set aside. The reason for that is if they're a bad hire and they work for you for a month or 2 and they literally don't generate you any revenue and they're a complete waste of money, you at least had that money in the bank and you weren't counting on that for your livelihood. So like I would set aside 3 months worth of their monthly, so for instance, if they cost $3,000 a month, I would try to have $9,000 set aside to cover their wages for the first 3 months of their pay. That's like your safety net, right? Especially if you have a family and you have a significant other and you have a mortgage or you have a car payment and you got to make those bills, and you can't just lose 20 grand all of a sudden because you make a bad hire. I would definitely try to get 3 months worth of their pay for your first hire in the bank, set aside just for the purpose of paying them. Number 2, again, these are like non-conventional, but these are things that I see, some of the things that I see a lot. Number 2, so save money is number 1. That's the first S. These are the 3 S's of hiring your first person. Number 1, save money. Number 2, seek employees. And this is a very different way of looking at things. A lot of times people feel like their first couple hires come to them. I would go out, if I was you, and seek employees. And so what I mean by that is a lot of times business owners will have a friend or acquaintance or a relative a lot of times that they know, and that's the person they hire first. And that's not a bad thing because there's a lot of trust that's built up, and your first couple hires, it's all about trust, less about their skills and their knowledge and experience. It's almost more about how much can you trust this person. So I'm not against family, close relatives and friends for your first couple hires. I don't like it later on down the road because then there's entitlement and there's hierarchical issues and things like that. However, at the beginning, I understand when a lot of people get a friend or family member to be their first and second hire. But I would go out and seek employees. And what I mean by seek employees, I would be looking for individuals that are of high caliber in positions that they are underpaid and that they have limited potential for growth. So what this means is you're looking at every individual that you come encounter with every single day as a potential hire, and you're asking yourself the question, would this person thrive in the environment that I want to create in my business and the culture that I want to create? Because this is by yourself right now. You've got to create a culture, and your first hire is going to dictate a lot of that. And they're going to set the groundwork, the foundation of the company you're about to build, the team, the culture, all that you're wanting to accomplish is going to be built, a foundation on this individual that and the team, the relationship that you build with them. And so you're going to seek employees, whether you're at Starbucks, whether you're at Home Depot, whether you're at the hardware store, whether you're at the computer store, whether you're at church, whether you're at a school function. You're always looking around for employees that are in service, and how do they act? How do they operate? How do they treat other customers? How do they treat other employees? That's really cool. Just really start to think every single person as a potential applicant for your business. Now, I'm not into handing people business cards like, hey, by the way, you should hire you. I could hire you. I'm not into that, especially small businesses. I never steal from competitors as far as actively going out after their employees. If they come to us, that's one thing, but never am I trying to hand out business cards with them or saying, hey, you should come work for us. I'm never doing that as far as our competitors. But when it comes to Starbucks, Home Depot, these massive chains where the individuals are usually lower paid, they aren't going to have a whole lot of room for growth, and it's just very obvious that they are overqualified, not qualifications and experience wise, but more from a an EQ cultural standpoint. Customer service is really what I'm looking for. How they treat a team, their positivity, the way they interact with other people, their communication skills. Like if you see a really high caliber person and they're working at Starbucks, that might be their dream. That they might want to become a manager of a location one day. That might be their thing. But there's a really good chance that you could get that person to work for you, give them a little bit more money and an opportunity to grow with a company that's going to expand and thrive, and they are getting on the ground level instead of employee number 200,000 of Amazon or 600,000 of Amazon. And so really every single day I'd be looking out for employees in action and how can you help them get closer to their goals by them working for your business. Think about that. Think about from their angle how you can help them get to where they want to be in 5-10 years and how they could be working in a place that is not paying them as much as they could make. They're getting underpaid and they are completely over-delivering to customers and other team members that they're currently working with. So number 1, save money. Number 2, seek employees. And number 3, simply delegate. So once you get that first employee, that second employee, you start getting a team, or even before you get your first employee, figure out what you're going to delegate. And there's 2 different ways to do this. Number 1 is delegate out your weak spots. So the areas that you're not very good at. So if you're not good at marketing, find someone that's good at marketing. If you are not good at finances and accounting, find someone that has some CPA stuff or has some sort of bookkeeping experience. That should be that first hire. Or, so we're talking about simply delegating here. Before you even hire a first person, you're going to look for either 1, your weak spots, or 2, you want to delegate tasks that aren't driving growth for the business. So if you're looking for your first hire, I'd be looking for one of 2 things. Either areas that you're weak in and you want to hire them for those weak areas, or 2, if you're like, well, I'm kind of okay at most things, or this individual is not so much about filling in my weak spots, but number 2 could be that they are going to take over tasks that don't drive growth. So for instance, if you're a mowing company, landscaping company like myself, your first hire might be like literally washing the trucks, taking the care of the equipment, taking care of the books, sending out emails and phone calls, things that aren't going to necessarily drive the revenue of the company and get you to your 3rd, 4th, 5th employee. That's what you as the business owner, if you're trying to scale quickly and scale your company and grow, you've got to be focusing on how do I get the next employee? How do I get from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3 and then from 3 to 10 and then 10 to 20? Like that should be what you should be focusing on, and the tasks that are going to keep you from those things, the things that are going to suck your time, that's what your hires should be taking care of. So if your first hire, you say, well, what am I going to delegate? What task? This should be something you write down. What am I going to do? What do I need to delegate and get employees to do for me so that I can focus on running this business and either A, drive revenue and drive growth, or B, fill in the weak spots that I'm currently just not good at. All right, so if you don't have an employee and you're looking to hire your first one, number 1, save money. Try to get 3 months of their pay in the bank ready for their payroll. Number 2, seek employees. Go out every single day looking for those people, those candidates that could be possibly the first and second hire for your business. And number 3, simply delegate. Those are the 3 S's of hiring your first employee. Save, seek, and simply delegate. Those are the 3 things that I'd like to leave with you today. And again, I really appreciate you guys listening, whether it was the first part on dealing with the unexpected or the second part on hiring your first employee. I hope something helped you. Let me know how it has, how it hasn't, what I can do better here. businessbootcamppodcast@gmail.com is my email address, and businessbootcamppodcast.com. You can go there on the website and leave your comments there too. Until next time, guys, be great, because nothing else pays. And again, this is Mike Andes on the Business Bootcamp Podcast.